Hello and welcome to another edition of True Audiofiles. My name's Jim Carter. So, trying something a little bit new today, this week. See if you guys like it. I'd love to hear your input, but basically displaying some of the highlights of some of the new releases that came out for the week. Alright, I wanted to interrupt this part of the video because probably about, I don't know, a half hour after I filmed the video on Friday, I got another new release that came out today. So I wanted to share that one with you also. So it'll just be real quick. But I got this Thelonious Monk Palo Alto. Supposedly an unheard recording of Monk in, I think it's 1968, was it? Yeah, 1968. So this was another new release that came out today. So back to your regularly scheduled programming. And I think I want to try to do this every week, but I'd love to hear your input to see, get your thoughts and takes on it. And maybe if you want me to try to do something even a little more different with that. So anyways, topic for this week is what I wish record labels would do for all vinyl releases. But kind of to preface this too, I know a lot of this, of what I'm going to say, is going to be pie in the sky, because I really don't think any of them are going to do this. However, it would definitely be something that would make me more willing to buy some titles, although it would also make me a lot less willing to buy some others. So I can definitely understand why it would be done and why they wouldn't do this. So first thing I would love is to know the source material in terms of, and when I say source material, I mean, whether it was cut from an analog tape, whether it was cut from like a CD file, quality file, or a high resolution digital file, just whatever it was. Now I know that Neil Young actually does do that. On the back of all of his newest releases, you'll actually see some information on there that says what the original source was. So someone does do it, and every once in a while you'll get it where it does say it's cut from the analog tapes. But there is some trickery out there as well, because it still is kind of ambiguous, especially when you see, mastered from the original analog tapes, because that could just mean they remastered it digitally and then cut it from the digital files to the vinyl. So it's very tricky and very hard to determine what is actually going on with the vinyl, when they say that kind of thing. So if it says cut from the original analog tapes, that is going to be something that's straight analog for the most part. I don't think there's really going to be any issue otherwise for that. So, but anyways, basically telling the source material, what quality that source material is. Whether it's a 1644.1 digital file, or a 24192 digital file, or analog tape, original analog tape, safety copies of the original analog tape, anything like that. All that, as much detail as possible would be awesome to me. So next step would be who actually cut the vinyl. For a lot of people, it probably wouldn't matter too much. You do see it again on some releases, especially when it's cut by a well-known and maybe even world-renowned mastering engineer that cuts vinyl. Basically, like people like Bernie Grundman, Kevin Gray, and Chris Bellman are some that kind of stick out to me as ones that are typically put onto a recording that's been cut by someone important. There's some others, some people from Sterling, like Ryan Smith. There's a couple of people at Sterling that I think should be put on there. People like Joe Nino Hernes, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his last name right. I probably butchered it. Joe is someone who I'm Facebook friends with and I've met personally, and every cut that I've heard him do has been just nothing short of spectacular. So anyways, so that's the second thing I'd want. The third thing that I know I will hardly ever get, but we do again get it if it's pressed at a place that's respected, is where the record was pressed. I can't tell you how many times I've got records that I've been really looking forward to, and they were pressed at a really bad pressing plant, and it shows, and you can hear it right off. One example actually is this new Ace Frehley. It was pressed at Precision, which they aren't usually listed in my bottom, but probably are going to be now, because it was pretty noisy. It had a lot of surface noise, which is kind of disappointing on a couple of different levels. One is because it was cut at 45 RPM, But secondly, it was also a limited edition gold pressing, which was only like 1,000 of them made. So chances are that all 1,000 of those copies are going to be pretty noisy. And so a little disappointing on that as well. Luckily, I didn't pay extra for that. But so, yeah, where it was pressed is going to be something that I would really, really like to have on there as well. So, one other thing that would also be really good that I don't really see on there a lot, sometimes it's on there, is if it's been remastered, who's remastered it? That one to me is a pretty important one. Just because, again, we want to know, usually have a pretty good idea of how good that mastering is going to be if it's done by someone respected. Someone like a Bob Ludwig or Bernie Grunman, people like that. If it's someone that you've never heard of before, it's a crapshoot if it's going to be good or not. So that would be another one that I would really like to see as being something that's important that all record labels do on these vinyl releases. All right, so to recap, here we go. So first one again was, what is the source material? Is it CD quality? Is it a high-res master, high-res digital master, I should say? Is it an analog original master? Is it a safety copy of the master? Is it a second generation of the master because I can't find the original analog? What's the source material? Number two, who cut the vinyl? Was it Kevin Gray, or was it Chris Bellman? Was it Joe from Sterling, like I mentioned earlier, or Ryan Smith, or whoever? Number three would be where it's pressed. Is it pressed at URP or GZ Vinyl or RTI or QRP or one of those others? And number four, who's remastered it if it's been remastered? Are they using the original mastering, or have they gone and remastered it and then cut it? It's one of those things that would be really good to know. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I will give a shout out to Vinyl Me Please in the sense that usually they give you most of that stuff. They will tell you typically who cut the vinyl. They'll tell you where it was pressed. I don't know if I've ever seen, I don't know if I recall seeing if they actually tell you the source material on it, though. That's one thing I don't know if I've seen from them, but they will tell you who cut it and where it's been pressed, which is important. But unfortunately, some of their stuff is pressed at GZ Vinyl, which not a big fan of, as I've told you already. But they do a decent job with that. Not such a big fan of what they've done recently, where, if you haven't heard, if you don't know much about Vinyl Me Please, they're basically a monthly record club that produced pretty unique, they were unique pressings for Vinyl Me Please, whether it was a special jacket or a special color of the pressing or something like that. But regardless, recently they've upped their price by about an additional 30% approximately, and made it so it's really not something that I'm interested in buying anymore. But so anyway, going off tangent a little bit there, but those are all of the things I'd love to see the labels do. It's not a lot, but it's also something that I don't ever expect any of them to do. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you like to see the record labels do? Have I missed something that you want them to do that they aren't doing that I haven't mentioned here? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked what you see here, please like the video. Let me know also if you kind of like the idea of seeing what's kind of new this week in releases and what I bought. Also, if you like what you see here, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to know when my new videos come out, please hit the alert bell. So that's my video for the week. Thank you very much, and you have a great day.